Yo, what is up guys, Boris here, and today we're going to be taking a trip down memory lane as we look at the top units to ever be released in One Piece Treasure Cruise. That's right, we're going to see who were the deciding characters during the early days, mid days, and even recently in the game. Who is the number one character that stands out when you think about the different periods of One Piece Treasure Cruise? So we're going to go ahead and look at those. And let's go ahead and get started. The first character on this list is Ashura Zoro. Now if you go back to the original days, the first few weeks of OPTC, this Zoro was by far the most popular captain in the game due to him being the first character to give 2 times health as part of his captain effect. This was so powerful that people in my original videos thought that I was hacking the game because I had so much HP and people just couldn't believe or understand how that worked. Zoro proved to be very powerful as a captain for many months in the beginning and definitely deserves, I think, the spot of the original OP captain in One Piece Treasure Cruise. Now at number 12 we have Zeff. That's right, we have a story mode character. Back in the day, he was the first 2.5 rainbow captain, meaning that you could have, for the first time, a bunch of different colors and have, at the time, the best possible attack boost in the game. Now, not only that, but he was a story mode character, so he was really easy to get. Anyone could get him. Some people, maybe it took them 100 runs. Other people got lucky, maybe they got him in around 20 runs, but you're going to end up getting him eventually. And I remember people tweeting at me all the time saying that they finally got him. Now the thing about Zeff that made him really powerful on top of all that is that a lot of the early game units, Sanji and Luffy for instance, they're fighters. So you could easily farm Zeff right in the beginning and have a very powerful team because all the fighters were easy to get. Now at number 11 guys, we have Gear 3 Luffy. Now this was the first 3.5 times captain, so you could see how much damage he could do. I remember everybody having a max Gear 3 on your friends list. This is about 50% of the friends list. That's how popular he was. And the thing about him was that he did require 3 perfects to get that bonus. I remember everyone's practicing their perfects leading up to the Gear 3 release, and it was one of the most hype releases. I still remember that moment. It was a really awesome, and Gear 3 was definitely a defining captain for a long time. He was really powerful. I'd say until around the time the Strong World batch came out. That's when he started getting dethroned a little bit. But Gear 3, if you guys were there in the beginning, you remember how popular he was. Definitely deserves a spot on this list. At number 10, we have Mihawk. That's Raid Boss Mihawk, the first raid boss to ever come out in OPTC. I personally maxed him on the first day, and I know a lot of the other streamers and top players all maxed him on the first day. There was no skill up. That's how much we wanted this guy. We knew this guy was going to be powerful. He was a 2.5 slasher, and at the time, slashers were by far the best class. Considering that he had a 30% HP cut, that means that any boss with a double Mihawk captain started at around 50% HP. So that was huge. And on top of all of that, the Mihawk boat, this was the first powerful ship in the game, and it boosted slasher. So when you take the best ship in the game, the best special in the game, and one of the highest attack boosts in the game, then you have Mihawk, who ended up being the most, I'd probably say he's been the most used captain for the first half of OPTC. At number 9, we have Strong World Shanks, who was the first 2.75 captain. He required to be above a certain amount of HP, but as long as you could stay there, your damage was going to be really crazy. He was sort of the first legend to encourage a different style of team building. This was a new era of One Piece Treasure Cruise, where instead of just tossing your best characters into a team, Strong World Shanks required you to think about it very specifically in terms of roles. So you'd want an orb booster like Fortnite Kobe. You already have a little bit of orb manipulation, but if you wanted to guarantee it, you could get someone like Bond Clay and Raid Boss Garp. And you could also had Impact Dial Usopp for a 2 times type boost, which really was not able to be used at the time, as only Int and Sai had a 2 times boost. Combine all that together and you just had a massive damage output team that could pretty much clear everything at the time. I remember this was the main team around the time that the Frieza Dokkan crossover came out. It was also the best team for Aokiji raid boss, so at the time it looked like he was going to be the best legend for a while, but that actually quickly changed with number 7, which is Log Luffy. So just a few Sugofest later, we got Log Luffy. This guy was, I'd say, had one of the most dominating periods in OPTC, being a ×4 captain after hitting good, great, and perfect meant that he was more powerful than Gear 3, and on top of that, you were able to heal with your meat orbs without losing any damage. So Log Luffy really was just crazy. He was everywhere, and personally I remember not having him, so I was really jealous when every time a new Coliseum would come out or a new training forest, the first one to clear was always Log Luffy, and I was not able to clear it, so that did make me a little bit jealous, but it just showed you how dominant he was, that he was always the go-to legend for any new content. That happened for a while, but then something pretty crazy happened. At number 7, we have Strong World Ace. Now the funny thing about him is that he actually was released before Log Luffy, and for the longest time people actually thought he was a really bad legend. Nobody wanted to pull him during Sugofest. He was a cool character, but he didn't really see any use for a few months. That is until people started to realize that you compare him with raid bosses like Zeff and like Heracles, and you actually have what I consider to be the first dream team in OPTC. He was able to deal crazy damage, not only one turn, but over 2 turns, which meant that he was the #1 team to clear Training Forest once you had the full dream team assembled. And that, of course, did include Marco, so the release of Marco did help out Ace, which allowed you to heal. But overall, a ×3 flat boost when you had a matching orb was really powerful, and people quickly found out that he was a force to be reckoned with. Now at number 6, we have Legend Crocodile. Now this guy, another one of the dream teams assembled with a cerebral theme this time. 3.25 attack boost, which was pretty crazy at the time. That's even higher than Stronghold Ace. And the fact that you could have a crazy 1-turn burst, but do that twice, allowed him to be known as the Coliseum Slayer, especially because 50 stamina Coliseums were starting to be a thing around this time. And the introduction of barriers was making Log Luffy not as powerful as he used to be. So people started to look to Crocodile. His team was definitely hard to assemble, but again, if you could get that Legend Dofi and the Crocodile, then you had some crazy damage over 2 turns. And I remember for a long time, people really wanted to complete this team. Now at number 5, we have Legend Fujitora. When this guy came out, no one actually believed that his special was real. The fact that you could get a 20% HP cut 3 turns in a row was insane. At the time, there weren't really that many barriers. Barrier was something that was introduced a little bit after Fujitora's era. So the fact that he could go into a boss, and he had a lot of HP considering the release of the Doflamingo ship, as on top of the HP that he gives, so you could just tank hits all day long while you're slowly cutting away your opponent's HP. And if 3 turns wasn't enough, you pop the other Fuji, and that's another 3 turns. And at the time, you also have to consider that Ambition was the best class with some of the best units, and they're just the combination of HP plus the raw power they had, plus the special from the Doflamingo ship, just made this team overall super powerful and definitely the best team for a while. That is until our number 4 legend came out, and he changed the whole way that everyone saw the game played. If the Stronghold characters were the introduction of the 2nd era of OPTC, Timeskip Luffy was the introduction of the 3rd era. This was a completely new way to play the game. A 4 times boost to all free spirits. This was crazy. The amount of damage that Timeskip Luffy could do was incredible, and it still is incredible to this day. And for a long time, we thought that free spirit was going to be the best class for the rest of the game. Especially with the release of Invasion Shanks being a 2 times orb booster for them, and Sabo getting a 6+. Timeskip Luffy had everything. He had orb manipulation in him, making 3 orbs beneficial for the full team. A 4 times boost, damage reduction. This was definitely the era of new characters with so many abilities that they could have been their own teams by themselves back in the day. So now, with the proper support units, they are capable of just so much more than anyone had ever imagined in the game. Now, at the time, there was a legend that was rivaling Timeskip Luffy, and that was Legend Akainu, who also gave around a 4 times boost, and he boosted the chance of getting red orbs. So on a mono red team, he was very, very powerful, but it really wasn't until the release of the 6+ units that he really saw him shine, and the fact that he was able to get a boost from 6+ Rob Lucci, 6+ Whitebeard. There were a lot of powerful effects that could be combined together to just do some crazy crazy things. Now, the thing that Akainu had over Time Skip Luffy, the thing that really gave him the edge was the fact that you could run anybody on the team. You were not restricted to just one class. And that meant that as time went on, there were some really powerful characters that you could add to the team. You could run support units. You didn't necessarily have to run all red units or one class, and that really made him more versatile, especially at a time when dungeons were becoming more complex and you sort of needed a lot more different types of specials. Akainu had a slight edge there, but overall it was always a competition of who was number one, Akainu or Time Skip Luffy during that time. At number 2, we have Neko Mamushi. This is what I consider the rise of strikers, which at the moment I think is the best class. 3.75 flat boost as long as they have a colored orb, so they don't necessarily have to have a matching orb, they just have to have one of any color. And this was pretty crazy. I've just seen Neko do so much damage, and there's no big drawbacks to him besides the fact that if you get a non-colored orb, it does cause a problem. But again, you can run units to go ahead and counteract that. There's so many full board orb manipulators now. The rare recruits are getting stronger and stronger. So really that's, I think, is what led Neko Mamushi to be as powerful as he is today. It's just a powerful effect. His special by itself gives all matching orbs. And then there's just so many good striker rare recruits that have been released in the past 6 months. Neko, definitely a strong legend, and even strong to this day, even though he's not number 1, but he's still one of the best legends in the game today. If you pull him, you should be really happy, and you'll be using him a lot. Definitely deserves number 2 spot on this list. Now that we've covered the entire history of the game, let's talk about present day. We right now are in the age of Legend Lucy, a base 3.7 times captain. As long as you have red, blue, and green, you are good to go. Flat damage, whether you have an orb or not. This is pretty insane. And Lucy, I don't see him going anywhere anytime soon. Even though there's been some really powerful legends like Judge and like Fujitora that have been released since Lucy, I think he is still the number 1 captain in this era. He's just so powerful. There's so many good red, blue, and green rare recruits. They will only continue to get better in my opinion. Take for example Coliseum Lucy, which was a perfect addition to the Legend Lucy team, as well as the Crow ship, which was released around the same time. And you can see how hard they're pushing this team to be really powerful. And like I said, I don't see him being dethroned anytime soon, but we will have to wait and see. I mean, eventually, as history has told us, there's going to be a new era, there's going to be a new best legend, so we just have to wait and see what that will be. But if you guys enjoyed this video, let me know down below in the comments. Let me know, did I miss any important eras in OPTC? I'm sure I missed 1 or 2, but the list is already long enough, so I figured that was good enough. And again, if you guys enjoyed these kind of videos, make sure to subscribe, notifications on, because these are the type of videos that I want to start making now. Enough Sugo videos, more of these fun videos to make. So, with that said, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Talk to you guys in the next video, and until then, peace.